Wow. Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. So this Kyrie thing is getting a little strange in regards to Adam Silver coming out with a statement. I know you guys follow me very closely in regards to this conversation. I've been trying to more or less navigate around it as best I can with my opinions and my ignorances and my hopes for the situation, as well as what the information is that's out there. So I've done the best I could, but hey, man, I'm a passionate person. So if I've said some things that offend, um, I don't know how best to go forth and feel good, um, that this ain't gonna further do the same, because at the end of the day, this conversation can't be had without being offensive to someone. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it. And I think that's the conundrum that Kyrie Irving finds himself in right now. He posted a link to a documentary that is being sold on Amazon called Hebrews to Negroes, as we've talked about. I've yet to see the documentary myself, read the book or anything like that, but I did see a good portion of advertisement that they had available for viewing on YouTube that gave you good excerpts of various different um, clips that they had from the documentary itself. So I was able to get some things, but not enough to know what all is there. So that's very important to understand about myself. I don't know what all is there, but what I can say is I know the conversation behind what it is that Kyrie Irving posted is said to have had factual information, as well as some things that may have been, what's the word, someone's opinion, or someone being disrespectful in regards to what it is they were saying or seeing or what have you. So I don't know the context, but like I said, when you're talking about this specific thing, there's no way to not be considered anti-Semitic when doing it, because the conversation itself is by definition considered an anti-Semitic one. But the conversation that I want to have is, I do believe that how we define anti-Semitic needs to be tweaked a little bit, because it tends to label people who are not anti-Semitic but are a part of a specific conversation, who are trying to find the heritage of black people or discover the heritage of black people. We believe that there may be some evidence of our history in their history, right? So when you start having the conversation about who are the black people, who are the original Hebrews, who are the original Jewish people, it's a very personal conversation for both sides. It's an offensive one for them, but it's one of seeking our heritage for us. And when we consider what it is that we're being shown, there were lies told, there was tactics being used against not only us, but many people over the course of time. And a lot of what they've had going on has been held close to the chest for them. Secrecy. We don't really know a lot about the Jewish people, but we do know that they're in control of a lot of what we are reaching up to receive, and as well as what happens when we are in trouble. There are lawyers, and so a lot of times they are doctors, a lot of times, and these are the stereotypes, but these are also real. They are people behind the scenes in regards to corporations and how they're run, and some of the owners and people who are in charge of censorship and things of that nature, and the commissioners of NBAs and in different leagues. They find themselves in positions of power, and they can control a lot of what it is that we're consuming. This is understood. Now, a lot of people are regular citizens as well who happen to be Jewish people. A lot of people don't fall in line with that stereotype at all. They're walking amongst us every day, and they don't want to be lumped in together with that, and that's fine. But there are a lot of people within their people that represent this this amount of power, and because of it, there is the offense that ends up coming about in regards to this conversation, that's just going to naturally touch them, based on the fact that they are the people of whom this situation is pointed at. So when somebody says, oh, they're the devil, I don't know what context they're saying, but when you describe what it is that's being alleged, that is some devilish stuff. And what I'm saying is, I ain't seen the documentary, but I do know that they're alleging that they have DNA evidence, and they can have proof that certain things are not as they've been said to have been. And some of these things would otherwise not have even been possible to understand until this time, because of how DNA is studied. which is why the conversation can be brought up right now and should be brought up right now, because it can be debunked or proven. And what I'm saying is, this is what needs to happen. There needs to be a national conversation, or there needs to be some kind of settling on this that doesn't have it, so that people who are having this conversation are vilified for being anti-Semitic. People who are looking for a loving conversation, for which may be confrontational just sheerly by nature, because people who lived way, way before us may have hidden some things, or are being accused of hitting some things. Not necessarily the people who are alive today, and certainly not our common fellow man who walks amongst us. So that's why it's a loving conversation that we can sit down and have, based on knowing how we've handled situations and conflicts in the past and how it does not work. We're dignified and we're loving people. Most importantly, we understand that both sides in general love God. You know, there are atheists and all different types in all groups, but Black Americans generally are Christian faith-based people. And of course, the Jewish faith they're obviously a faith. So it's like, this is a spiritual conversation, and that's why it's so passionate for both sides. That's why people with the Jewish faith feel like it's important to come down on people who come against them, because they're on a mission from God. But in my mind, it's like, so are we? Are we not? We believe we may be the people of Judah, so how can we not? So it's one of those situations where it's like, if you're going to stand between us, or if you're going to be a part of that group and come down on us while we're having this conversation, you do understand that you're drawing a line in the sand. You're not enacting the same type of energy that you did in the past when you were silencing us. You're on the other side of a conversation we're trying to have. So that's what needs to be understood. And you can't silence Kyrie in the ignorance in the presence of those who don't know of the conversation that's being had. Because there are people like myself who know of the conversation, they're going to bring it up. And I'm going to tell everybody else what you're doing. Man, that's exactly what's happening here. So with respect to Adam Silver, I understand that he's a Jewish man. And he feels offended by what it is that's being alleged there. He believes in his truth, is who his people are, and as he should, because those doctrines have been passed down for many years. And who are we to question those things? We are people who are trying to figure out who we are. We are people who believe we have loving hearts and loving spirits, and have displayed a sense of olive branch toward all people in this land that we stand in, to the point where we should be able to have conversations that may offend you without it being a problem. Have we not done enough as a people to bring this to you and say, damn it, we're wondering, and if this turns out to be this way, yes, you some damn devils. Have we not earned that? And see, that's the point. It's like you're telling us we can't call you a damn devil, and it's like, well, if you're acting devilish, why not? Who are you to tell me I can't call you what you're acting when you're silencing me for having a conversation for which is peaceful? Is that not devilish energy? Now, see, these are the type of things that we're not supposed to say because they're anti-Semitic, but it's not. And that's why anti-Semitism needs to be redefined. See, Hitler was an anti-Semite. He wanted to kill people. We're not trying to hurt anybody. And anybody that is trying to hurt anybody needs to be thrown over there with Hitler. They're bad people, regardless of what their skin looks like. And they should be properly defined. But a guy like Kyrie Irving continuously says, I mean no harm. I didn't mean no hurt. I didn't make this programming. I didn't sell it. I'm a customer of it from Amazon. Why are you coming down on me for promoting it when it's been sold for many days on Amazon? In the past, almost a year or two, it's been on there. Why are they coming down on Kyrie for promoting something that's being sold by Bezos? And so this is bullying. And then when I looked at Adam Silver's statement, I was hurt. Because a couple of days ago, I don't know which video I made, but I was telling you guys, every time I sense the energy that it's not enough for black people when these individuals behind the scenes are enacting their cancel culture, and they're telling black people or telling whoever that they need to distance themselves from what it is that they're telling them they need to distance from. It's not enough for them to apologize. It is not enough for them to simply say, I want to distance myself from this for the betterment of my business, although I still agree with what it is I posted. I would like to walk away from it because it is in my best interest to do so. It isn't enough for them to allow that person to tell their truth. They need to force them into denouncing it in such a way that burns the bridge, that makes it so that they have to choose sides, that makes it so that they feel as if they are disrespecting that of which they once agreed with inside of what it is they are about. And damn it, if Adam Silver did not verbalize that in his statement the very next day, I just made the video telling y'all that's what I see in their energy every single time they do this. It's not enough to just say, yo, I am sorry that you're offended and I would like to walk away. They want you to say, F that side. I'm not doing that. I think it's ridiculous. They made Shaq do it. They made Shannon do it in regards to Kyrie, and they're making Kyrie do it in regards to this situation in regards to the $500,000 when he said, I don't think everything in there is true. They made him do it in regards to the statement made. Well, I will say they made him do it, but he chose to do it probably because they led him to it when they were putting the camera in his face and asked him about it verbally. And now you can see it in Adam Silver's comment when he's simply saying it ain't enough for you to be doing, I'm paraphrasing, but he said it's not enough for you to collaborate with the Brooklyn Nets. We want to see a firm apology and you firmly denounce. And it's like, yo, yes, thank you, Adam. You're showing me that what I'm sensing is exactly the tactics that you're verbalizing, that your people do. You do this. This is what y'all do. I was just winging it because I'm like, I keep seeing these things all over the place when I know they are using all of their reach to cancel Kanye. And they're making all of these people that are canceling Kanye denounce him in this way. And then I'm seeing it with Jaylen Brown. He came back around after they made him denounce Kanye. He said, I didn't want to do it. You see it in regards to the Drink Champs and Nori, knowing damn well Nori's Kanye's friend. He did not want to denounce him after having him on his platform. He had just brought him on there because the man had been muzzled everywhere else. You think he really wanted to say sorry for bringing him on? That was the point of bringing him on, so he could say stuff he couldn't say anywhere else. They made him denounce that to keep his platform. These are the type of things we're talking about. This is bullying, devilish behavior. Am I anti-Semitic for saying that? Tell me I'm a bad guy for pointing out what I'm seeing here in different directions, pointing toward different black people. And then he verbalized it just to reinforce it. Go back and watch the video. I wish I knew which one it was. Probably one of the therapy sessions. But go back and watch them. You'll see. This is exactly what it brought up. Adam Silver reinforces it with his words. You are showing yourselves. You're showing us. This is not about whether or not who you are or who you're not. It's about the DNA of what it is that you're doing based on the rhythm of your actions. We can see it in everything you do. You leave your print on everything. And I'm not a person of God. I'm not a person of Judah. Are you sure? All I'm saying is this, and I've always said this. If you're a person of God, you know you're not God, so you're not going to act like him. You're not going to behave as a God, because if you're cognizant, you are the people of God. If you truly had that spiritual awakening and that understanding, the actual awakening, and you're from that place, you have that in yourself. Like I feel like I got it right now. Every time I say my prayers and I feel like they're being answered. When you feel it, you know when the energy is off. And then when you look at your opponent and you see them engaging in misdirection, tactics of the devil, putting the word out on your opponent that they're somebody that they are not, or painting them out to be a certain thing, misinterpreting to the public or misdefining their intentions to the public and making them walk away from what it is that they believe in, ostracizing them from their beliefs to join you. This is white supremacy. You can call it whatever you want. That is white supremacy's tactics. I was not talking about the DNA of Jewish people when I was talking about the tactics of making people bring themselves away from certain things, and that's white supremacy. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would be the worst anti-Semite based on how y'all talk about Kyrie and Kate, because I'm not afraid to have none of these conversations. I'm a praying person. I pray all day. I know my spirit. I know when I'm engaging in bad energy. I'm not, the world ain't gonna tell me when I'm a bad guy, because I remember being a bad guy. I know when the consequences came my way. I know what the Lord was telling me. I got the warning. Spiritually, all this is spiritual. All this is right here. So for me, as I speak this way, you ain't gonna be able to tell me who I am. And I articulate myself very well. And I get along with people very well. So you ain't gonna be able to tell other people who I am either. They know me. They'll know my energy right away. They'll know. My energy is all personally, just knowing who I've been. I've always been the guy that nobody ever really wanted to do anything to, because they never got any points for that. It's not my spirit. I don't fight. I'm not none of that. The Lord gave me all of that in a different type of courage. That's why I speak the things that people are afraid to say, because He didn't give me all that other stuff. I don't have all that. I have that, the mouth, the thoughts, and the understanding and the feelings of what the spirit is versus what it is not, and the tactics of the enemy and what he engages in, and how he ultimately leaves his DNA on everything. And I just get hurt because I know there's no way around this conversation without hurting people. That's it. But if we have a loving conversation about what the truth of the matter is, then you can understand the devilish behavior is found. It's not an insult. It's an observation of energy and behavior. It's the truth. The devil engages in misdirection. The devil engages in lies. He's always smearing his enemies. He's always telling people he doesn't exist. His greatest gift was to tell the world that he didn't exist. That's one of the things I was most told as a child. He always makes people believe he doesn't exist. He always tries to make people think it's your fault that things are going your way, when he's actually doing things to mold the environment around you so that you will behave a certain way in that environment. This is all satanic behavior. Devilish. The stuff that white supremacy bases everything else it's on, and every division of it bases everything it does on. I'm not supposed to say any of this. I'm a bad guy for saying what it is, but if you look at the history, this is what you will find all throughout the history books, especially the ones they hid. This is the facts. I can feel it in my bones. I've always known this. It's not like I'm speaking on something that is not real. It's everywhere. And so the best way to heal from all of this is to start admitting it. Everybody. Nobody did this. Nobody alive today created this. This was evil left here for us to deal with. That's the point. That's why nobody should be pissed at anybody. We're doing what we learn how to do. These are agreements we've learned how to have. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But what we're not going to do is misdefine what we see. Misdefine what we see. What we're not going to do is let forces of anything keep us from our focus in regards to the main conversation. Because that's what ends up happening. People get derailed from the conversation based on things they heard that offended them, or things they heard that may not necessarily vibe with them. You got to stay focused on what the main focus is, which is being able to live in the presence of all these conundrums and all these feelings without tearing people down or misrepresenting people's intentions when they speak or when they post or what have you. And we got to normalize telling the truth. Let's normalize it. Because that's what essentially the world doesn't want us to do. That's essentially what the silencers want us to do. They want us to stay with these lies. They want us to believe lies that were told to us by liars who were here for a long time lying, who left lies for us to deal with. And they want us to continue to keep those agreements, and we just know better. We got DNA, we got science, we got understanding, we have time spent since learning lessons and living to know that the stuff that they were doing was not for us. And we don't have to continue to keep up their lies. We don't have to sit uncomfortably in spaces where we know stuff is bullcrap just because we've always been that way and we're afraid of everything falling apart. We'll build again, bigger and better if necessary, but what we can't do is continue to act like we can kick this can down the road with these issues, kick this can down the road with these bullies in place, silencing people and not having real conversations, sitting in the back not paying for their crimes. This needs to come to the forefront. Wars will end because of conversations like this. Why wouldn't Adam Silver want to have a conversation like this? I'll tell you why. On the wrong side. Simply put, he needs to understand, just like every person in that situation, that this is a spiritual conversation. So if you're on the side of God, then you will realize what it is that he wants you to do within your position. This is not a conversation where we need to be going back and forth with man. If you're a person of God, talk to him. This is his doing. And if you pray, you'll find that out. I'm telling you, it is a conversation of love. Even in the midst of all these bad energy, comfort words that come out of my mouth, describing what it is that I know is being done. The truth is not evil. It's staying in the presence of lies and staying in the presence of confusion and allowing that to ultimately define us. That is what evil actually is. We got to get outside of those. We got to start telling the truth. We got to start saying, hey, I want my voice heard. I got some harsh feelings. I want them out so I can heal from them. You may have some harsh feelings too. Maybe we got to duke it out. But at least if we duke it out now, our kids won't shoot it out because we would have handled our problems right now. So if you got to say what you got to say to me, maybe that's what needs to be said. And if I get upset about it and say something back to you, maybe that's what needs to be said. But we need to be wise at what starts these wars that last for hundreds of years. We need to be aware that we are reinforcing those wars when we don't have the harsh conversations that each and every generation keeps kicking down the road and hiding or whatever, what have you. Am I a bad guy? Probably for some of the stuff I said, maybe. I'll own it. I promise I will. But we can't own it unless we have the conversations. I'm calling people like Kyrie Irving an anti-Semite, but then calling Amazon for another package just doesn't make any sense to me. Don't make no sense. Or acting like we don't see devilish energy and devilish people behaving like devils, not because of skin or any religious nonsense, but because they're bullying people and trying to keep them silent about conversations that really are spiritual in nature will heal both sides have had. I think it's time to start being real about that and not allowing the word devil or that was inaccurate in a 3-hour documentary to define what it is that Kyrie is as a person when posting it. Especially when nothing in that thing has been seen by everybody who's holding him accountable. I'm certain of that. What is anti-Semitism, man? What is it? Can I be anti-me if I'm really a Jewish person? If I'm actually that, how can I be anti that? And if they're not that, then how can they be anti that when I'm holding them accountable for it? You got to prove both. And skirting away from doing so because you feel offended ain't gonna cut it. Yeah. That's the sadness of us all. That's the truth. You can't sweep this under the rug and say you're a bad guy anymore. Because we're telling you we're not. But you are if you keep doing this. BDF 44. Thank you all for watching.